want to turn away kids, but we're running out of space.
Call the North Syracuse Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
That's going to be like security stuff. Like security.
We're going to begin with a moment of silence for the following. Tyler Rowe, a graduate of Cicero North Syracuse Central School District. Ronald Oster, a graduate of North Syracuse Central School District. Loomis Party, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Edwin McCumber, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Alice Matson, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Angelo Menino, a former student of the North Syracuse Central School District. Suzanne Kane, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. David Littleboy, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Michael Thompson, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. And Jack Holthaling, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. All right, today we have a proclamation for School Psychologists Appreciation Day. So I will read that, and then do we have somebody here? Yes, we do. Great. Okay. Throughout our school buildings, school psychologists have an impact on the district students and families. They have accepted this experience, responsibility with commitment, dedication, and love. The school psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District are professionals of the highest caliber and have dedicated themselves to the ideals of their profession. Students, parents, administrators, and community members recognize, applaud, and appreciate their efforts to ensure students receive quality services. To honor school psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments, I, Paul Farfalia, President of the Board of Education of the North Syracuse Central School District, on behalf of the board, express our deepest gratitude and hereby declare November 9th, 2022 as School Psychologist Appreciation Day to be celebrated with appropriate educational activities. And that's a motion from me. If I get a second from Mr. Crabtree. Any discussion, comments? All in favor? Aye, that is carried. Thank you.
This time I'd like to have all the school psychologists come forward with Mr. Carrillo. Would you like to do the honors, or we can have everyone introduce themselves? Okay. We're going to come on over. We'll face out, and then we're going to have everyone introduce themselves and the location that you're at. I'm going to start here.
Hi, I'm Roseanne Ferrara, the school psychologist at Roxborough Road Elementary, and this is my 22nd year working for North Syracuse.
Hi, I'm Sam Donnelly. I'm school psychologist at Bear Road Elementary, and this is my 4th year working for North Syracuse.
Hello, Amanda Foster. I'm at Cicero Elementary, and this is my 5th year working for North Syracuse.
Hi, I'm Maureen Gill, and this is my 25th year, and I've been working at Smith Road the whole time.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Marini. I'm a school psychologist at the North Syracuse Junior High School, and I'm starting my 21st year.
On behalf of the district office and the Board of Education, we want to award you the certificate for your dedication to the district for all these years. And again, thank you. Let's give them one last round of applause.
Okay, we have a BPT presentation too tonight. We're going to start with the Roxborough Road Middle School, so you may come on up and take over, or is it middle that's starting?
Yes.
Okay. We already did element.
Good evening. My name is Heather Pellegrino. I'm the acting principal at Roxborough Middle School. Thank you so much for inviting us here this evening. We're excited to share with you an overview of the many exciting things happening at Roxborough. I'm joined this evening by our two associate principals, Joelle Fiorini and Pat Wallace, as well as a few of our amazing BPT members, fifth grade teacher Brianna Bidwell and Colleen O'Connor. Sixth grade teacher Catherine Kirschbaum was also instrumental in helping us create this presentation, but she's unable to be here tonight due to a family emergency. To begin, we wanted to give you a sense of who our Roxborough Middle School family is. We have a current total enrollment of 716 students, including 237 fifth graders, 254 sixth graders, and 225 seventh graders. Following the overall trend in the district, our enrollment has decreased by approximately 100 students over the past 5 years. We are incredibly fortunate in that, despite our declining enrollment, our faculty and staff numbers have remained relatively stable, with a few noteworthy areas actually increasing. Over the past 5 years, we've seen the size of our mental health staff almost double. This year, we're thrilled to have the support of 3 school counselors, 1 social worker, 2 psychologists, 1 restorative practices specialist, 1 family engagement specialist, 2 Liberty Resource counselors, and a Promise Zone specialist. These dedicated individuals help our students navigate the rocky waters that come with adolescence and the many unique challenges of post-COVID life. We're also extremely grateful to the Board of Education for supporting the addition of a second associate principal at our school. We are already experiencing the positive effects of this additional position through more consistent disciplinary practices, streamlined building management, and the ability to actively engage in building initiatives. Overall, the faculty, staff, students, and families who comprise Roxborough Road Middle School have formed a unique family dedicated to supporting one another and helping our students reach their fullest potential.
I have the pleasure of sharing some data with you all. On the left, you'll notice a chart that shows our ELA 3-year trends. So the bars represent percent of students that were scoring at each of the 4 levels, levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the right, these are our Ames-Webb tier transition charts. So we have one for each of our grade levels, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Each triangle represents one of the benchmark assessments that our students took. So the first triangles in each of those rows represents fall benchmark. Middle is winter, and then spring is the last triangle that you see there. The green, yellow, and red represent the tiers 1, 2, and 3 that students score into. So as we looked at that data, we noticed some strengths and then also some areas of growth. We noticed as a strength that we did see an increase in our students that were scoring within the green, which is our tier 1 proficient level. We also noticed that on the New York State assessment in 2021, we saw an increase of students that were scoring proficient, which is the levels 3 and 4. We also talked a lot about areas of growth. We know we want to continue to increase that Grow the Green. We want to see more students scoring proficient and see more of an increase from our fall benchmark to our spring benchmark. Another conversation that we had a lot around was that our students within that tier 3, we didn't see much change within that red triangle. And so that was something we really wanted to target this year. And I know that we're going to be sharing a little bit more about that as we go.
The next slide is math trends. You see represented the years 2018, 2019, then we had a gap in 2020 and then 2021. Next, to the right of the math trends are the Ames Web benchmark tests. And they were done in the fall, the winter, and the spring. In each, for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, there was growth from the fall to the winter to the spring. A building goal wasn't created around math, but it's just as important as the other parts of our building goals. Currently, Nick Schultz is working with our math AIS and PLCs to help improve students' math scores. Also, the math teachers are actively engaged in collaborative learning, working with the University of Rochester's Center for Professional Development and Educational Reform and Syracuse University. This is in an effort to increase math instruction to meet the needs of all our students.
So our first building goal is centered around reading proficiency, and our goal is to increase students meeting mastery in the Ames Web by 10% minimum at each grade level and decrease the number of students in the red by 2%. And our first strategy is centered on that data analysis. Collaborative teams in ELA are going to analyze the grade level data from Ames Web to more specifically target instruction for all students. We know that red amount stays the same, but are they the same students? Or do they move from red to yellow or to green? And we want to really understand who those kids are and then target interventions for them. All collaborative teacher teams are going to create a SMART goal, identifying ways they can contribute to help us reach our reading goal. And we started AIS interventions earlier than September, and AIS also has more time with student groups, more minutes. And then we are, of course, piloting Tier 1 instruction materials with the goal of improving or making more effective Tier 1 instruction.
So as someone who sits on the attendance committee, I can tell you absenteeism is something that we've really looked at a lot this year and that we're talking about. This shows our 3-year trends of chronic absenteeism. Last year in 21-22, we had a rate of 33.4%. And so I know they're going to talk about soon one of our goals being to hope to see a decrease in that number. We have also had a lot of conversations around staff observations of days and months where we see a lot of absences. And so this is another area where we're really trying to use the data to best meet the needs of the students. So this is some data that we pulled. It shows 3-year absence trends by month. So the bars represent 3 different years worth of data. It's number of absences. And we're really trying to look at months where we're seeing high numbers of absences and we know it could be a lot of different reasons, but this is the type of data that we're really trying to target to look at how we can best meet the needs of the students and improve that chronic absenteeism rate.
So our second building goal does focus on that chronic absenteeism. Our goal is to decrease our chronic absenteeism from 33.4% to 28.4%. Some of our strategies for doing that is to regularly communicate student absence with families. We did send out some data with the 5 weeks progress reports about how our students are doing with their attendance so far this school year. We've also, the attendance committee has been working to identify at-risk students who have already missed enough days of school that they are at risk of chronic absenteeism. Each at-risk student has been appointed a point person that both makes positive contact with the student at school and makes family contact with those families at home around their absences and trying to build those relationships to get them to school more often. The committees are also reviewing that data on a quarterly basis because it is fluid at looking at what kids might have made gains and what kids now need to be on our radar as well. We're also working on some attendance incentives or activities that students can participate in. On Halloween, just last week, we did a Halloween Spirit Day. Kids were able to wear costumes to school, and we really saw some positive response to that by the students, kids who wanted to be in school on that half day when we have traditionally seen lower attendance.
So moving on to mental health. Those of us who work with students and families daily have witnessed firsthand how this pandemic has accelerated an already troubling youth mental health crisis. Already this year, Roxborough students have self-referred to the counseling department a total of 616 times. Our counselors have conducted 5 suicide assessments, resulting in 3 student hospitalizations, with one of those students being admitted to a long-term care facility. In addition to data collected by our counseling department, last year our 5th and 6th grade teachers each completed the BIMAS counseling screener to more accurately assess our students' behavioral functioning and social emotional skills. The results gave reason for pause. 18 to 22% of our 5th and 6th grade students were rated as falling within the highest risk category in the areas of social development, academic functioning, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Interestingly, comparisons from fall to spring data suggested that our students made the most growth in the area of relationship skills, but unfortunately also demonstrated a troubling decline in academic functioning. This data highlights the need for continued focus on our students' social emotional learning and mental health. To that end, we're excited by the wealth of social emotional learning initiatives that are part of everyday life for our students at Roxborough Middle School. As a school, we've embraced and value the restorative practices which seek to foster an equitable and positive school culture by strengthening relationships and connections between members of our school community. Our teachers and mental health staff regularly utilize restorative circles, both to mediate conflicts and proactively build relationships. Our counselors do individual, group, and crisis counseling, make access and liberty referrals, conduct home visits, and run a positive intervention program in which our students are paired with helpers in classrooms at Roxborough Elementary School. Our student family engagement specialists have redefined homeschool connections at Roxborough Middle School, working tirelessly to build the positive relationships and experiences which ultimately make our kids want to come to school. Our engagement specialists transport kids to and from school, organize and deliver food donations, maintain a community closet of clothing essentials, distribute needed school supplies, teach kids how to navigate peer relationships, and foster a sense of love and support in our community. These supports make a tangible difference in the daily lives of our Roxborough Middle School students. We also do a lot of things at Rox Middle that are just plain fun. We're thrilled to see our extracurricular and enrichment activities returning to pre-COVID levels, with our students enthusiastic about participating in sports, music, drama, and STEM. If they're interested in computers or GSA, we've got those too. We recently had 3 well-attended Halloween dances for all 3 grade levels, which included games, prizes, and costumes. It was great to see our kids having fun and just acting like kids for a change. We are also fortunate that our unique daily schedule has allowed us to add 5th and 6th grade band, chorus, and orchestra back into the school day. Making this change has made these activities more accessible to our students who have after-school commitments, drastically increasing our participation rates. We are so fortunate to have so many options for our students. One last thing we wanted to highlight is our new Rising Rock Stars program. Rocks Middle is the fortunate recipient of a 21st Century Learner Grant, which affords hundreds, yes, hundreds of our students the opportunity to stay after school each day until 5:45. Participants receive daily academic support as well as myriad of enrichment opportunities. This quarter, for example, students are participating in African drumming, yoga, metal crafting, and illustration. It's our hope that this exciting opportunity will help our students each discover what truly inspires them. So we've been kind of doing a lot of talking, but we created a little bit of a video here so you guys can get a look at what it actually looks like to spend some time at Roxborough Middle School. There was sound attached to it.
Roxborough Middle.
Everybody's very friendly, very helpful. If you have a question, all you have to do is ask.
What I love about Roxborough Middle School is the atmosphere and how inclusive we are and how everybody fits.
Hello, my name is Damien. The thing I love about Rockville is we get to switch classes.
I love the community that we have, and we're building it with each other, with the kids, and always having smiling faces in the building every day.
So that's the try that again. Yep. That is the end of our presentation. We thank you for your attention and most of all your ongoing support of Roxborough Middle School, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have for us.
So before any questions, I need some clarification. If you could you show me the graph on the 3-year absence trends by month? It's I'm looking at it here, but it's
Sure.
I want to know if I understood it properly. So I'm the y-axis.
Number of absences, yes. But so it's just Roxborough.
I'm having trouble. I mean, it's an astounding statistic for me.
It
why
is. We agree.
And I think that's why that's a goal.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
more important than anything else. You have to have them there, obviously. Okay, I just wanted to look at that again because I went through just to make sure I was processing it right, because the units on the y-axis are
It
hard for me
absolutely
to
is.
process, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely something that we've been looking at. The attendance committee looks at data right from school tool, numbers of absences per month, per year, so that we can kind of compare the last 5 years. And it is staggering. It's definitely something we want to work on.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments? Yes.
Not used to these. Not used to, no. Old microphones. Okay. Just want to say Roxborough Road Middle School is a special place. I've been there to some of the activities, and I feel that the staff works beyond, all staffs do, but I feel you're extra special staff. Just some concerns and questions. I'm very pleased as a former teacher with your ELA. Scores seem to be going up, but math was my favorite subject, and it seems to be having a trouble area in your, and why would that be? It's the same students that you're testing with the New York State testing. Do most of your students take the test? I know parents have an option to not let them take it, but most of your students do take the test.
Yep, we've actually had pretty good participation and equal in ELA and math, so it's not just a figment of who's taking the test and who isn't. I wish that we had a good answer for why math in particular is troubling. I don't have any data or research to back this up. My own thinking is that because math is more of a cumulative kind of knowledge, I think it's possible that it's been more significantly impacted by the loss of instructional time related to COVID, perhaps, than some of the ELA pieces. Like I said, I don't have any research to back that up, but that would be one of the things I would wonder about. We also obviously have recognized the significant data around math in our school. And although we went with a literacy goal to keep aligned to the district's strategic action plan, please know that we recognize the gravity of some of those numbers and are really working pretty hard on them. Nick Scholes has been a real...
I've asked Mr. Bowles for Nick and Greg to come in. I want to see the grades 3 through 8 in the entire district. To be honest, I thank you. You're one of the first schools that have given us this data. The elementary schools did not. So I thank you. Sometimes you have to stand up and say, okay, here's an area that we have to work on.
Yep.
And we'll work on it.
Yep. Gotta own it.
Definitely the Community Learners Grant that we have received through Lisa is wonderful. I was under the impression that also was happening before school. That is not true.
So the Rising Rock Stars program is happening both at Rocks Middle School and Rocks Elementary School. And because of the timing of the school day, Rocks L does have a period of time before school that they're having extra time. But because we start so early in the morning, our time is all after school.
The reason I bring that up is I would think if you did have something in the morning, you would see your absenteeism decrease. That's just the thing that I might see. How many students have, that program has started, am I correct?
It did, it started on the 1st.
And how many students are being provided, are coming? Because
So right now we have 219 students enrolled at Roxborough Middle School.
okay. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for what you do in your school.
Thank you.
Just a response, Mr. Crabtree. The 3 through 8 presentation will be at the November 21st board meeting.
Thank you.
I have a comment. I don't know if my microphone's working. Yeah, it's working, right? First of all, I echo what Bob said. Thanks. Thanks for the nice presentation, and thanks for all the hard work you're doing. I want to give a shout out to, which I always do, the Positivity Project. I just think that is an awesome project. It's real, it's research-based, based on the life of Chris Peterson, and I'm a big fan of his, and I think it's a great program for the kids. I do have a question about your special ed programs. You said you have a 12-1-1 and a 12-1-4. Just one of each class?
Well, we have one of each special class. Our 12-1-4 class is comprised of all 3 grade levels, and our 12-1-1 is all 4 grade levels. Our 12-1-4 are all 3 grade levels. So our 12-1-4 is students of multi-ages, so it's all the way from 5th grade up to, I believe, 8th grade.
Okay. And you have like resource programs and,
Yep, we also have a blended model for our students with learning disabilities or other health impairments, as well as students who use primarily CTD resources in ELA and math primarily, and also starting more and more commonly to have students who just have resource.
okay. All right, great. Thanks. And thanks again, everyone.
Xavier?
You know, I have another one. I forgot
Xavier,
about. I'm sorry.
it's okay, yep. Yeah.
I can't see.
I know, no, I know.
Or hear. Okay.
I understand. Sorry. He was waiting.
Okay.
Hi.
Sorry. I
It's okay.
apologize.
It's all right.
Okay, it is, okay. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for this presentation, it was awesome. I saw it twice up there, can you just clarify what TSI was for the absenteeism?
So we are a targeted school improvement program, and we are using some of our TSI processes and funds to address some of this chronic absenteeism.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And yes, Mr. Crabtree.
We had a presentation here by Lisa Goldberg, and one item that really disturbed me was athletics compared to Gillette. The number of students that are in modified in all sports is so much greater at Gillette. Is there something being done about that at Roxborough? Because I remember years ago, I knew one of the coaches, and there were a lot of kids playing modified football from Roxborough. Matter of fact, they had their own team. Back then, we had our own Roxborough and Gillette. So when I saw that when Lisa Goldberg, I had a concern. Is there something being done to get young people more involved? Because I feel if you get more involved in sports, athletics, academics will improve. School attendance will improve.
So we've begun having lots of conversations about that. Don Keegan was nice enough to come out and do a tour of our campus to talk about ways we can start bringing some of those practices and games out to the southern end of the district, where primarily they're now located at Gillette and the high school. So just working on some of those facilities barriers, which I think is a great start. We've also talked about the fact that just the nature of sports, competitive sports, more recently has been structured such that kids are starting at such an earlier age in terms of joining private activities, so private lacrosse, private baseball. And we have a lot of students in our campus that come from homes with socioeconomic disadvantages, that they can't join some of those activities at those young ages that are primarily through the private sector. So that's actually one thing that we're kind of excited about our Rising Rock Stars program, the 21st Century Learning Grant. It's a cost-free way for some of our students to get access, earlier access to some of those activities that they haven't traditionally been able to access until they are able to participate in them at school sports. And by the nature of the way those are structured, if you don't start early enough now, by the time you get to 7th grade modified or JV, oftentimes you're being outplayed by your peers who have started at age 5. So that's one way that we're hoping we can address some of those financial barriers for our students getting access to those sports.
Thank you.
No other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we next have Gillette Road Middle School. Yeah. I can just give you mine.
While we get ready, I'm Dave Cordone. I'm the principal of Gillette Road Middle School, and with me tonight,
Sean Ackley, one of the associate principals at Gillette Road Middle School.
Steve Bacon, sixth grade teacher and co-chair of the BPT.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jones. I'm one of the associate principals at Gillette.
all right, so we will begin. Thank you. So we always begin with our mission statement at Gillette every time we meet, especially our BPT. It keeps us anchored and focused on the decisions that we make, and they're always student-centered. Our mission statement is aligned to that of the district. This is an overview slide of the demographics and the makeup of Gillette. So the breakdown by grade level is there for you. We can say that we have a total of about 1,054 students this year. We lost one section in enrollment of fifth grade from last year to this year. And let me see, what else do we have for you? The number of sections, CTDs, that really is a level of special ed service where the special ed teacher goes into the classroom. So across all three grade levels, there are a combined number of 28 of those sections at Gillette. We have two 15-1 special classrooms. They are on the continuum of services. In the last presentation, they referenced at Roxborough the 12-1-4 and the 12-1-1. Our programs at Gillette receive any students that are eligible for that program or recommended for that program rather from Roxborough and Gillette, and likewise the ones that were mentioned at Roxborough also may contain some students from Gillette that are recommended for those two programs that are more restrictive. One of the 15-1 programs that we have at Gillette this year, it just depends on the enrollment and the makeup. One of the programs contains fifth and sixth grade students, and the other one contains seventh grade students, and that is just for scheduling ease and a way of grouping the kids to more efficiently utilize staff. Sometimes there is an ebb and a flow between those two programs. They really are identical, but it's really to support scheduling students for what they need that we're able to look at them and place them within one program or the other. One of the growing demographic groups that we have at Gillette are our English language learners. They are in our ENL program, and there are currently 33 of those students at Gillette, which we have seen steadily increase since the program did come to Gillette. Down on the bottom of the slide, you'll notice that we are not a Title I school, of course, and yet if we were to look at our transient population, where you see that fraction, if you will, next to the bullet, to the left of the bar is the number of students that have entered Gillette and versus the number that have left, and that's broken out by year. So we have, again, seen an overall loss from year to year, last year to this year, of roughly 50 students. So we focus, as everyone is, on student attendance because we know that students can't learn unless they are in school with us. These two sets of data, one is looking at it from daily and average daily attendance. So that is the percentage of students that are attending daily. And it's broken out for you to look at by year. When we were looking at setting a goal for Gillette, we certainly wanted to pay attention to our pre-pandemic number to know if we were to kind of go back to what we perceived as more normal, a more normal time frame, that would help us set our goal. Down on the bottom, you can also see the flip side to that, which is the chronic absenteeism. And by definition, those are the percentage of students who have missed 10% of the school year. And that's a moving target. So when you see the 2022, 2023 data point, that percentage, that is for right now. So that's going to change. And on the next slide, you'll see what our goal is. So this summer, we found we were very pleased with our work to set our goals for the building around the strategic action plan. It really helped us focus in on what we knew we needed to attend to at Gillette. And one of those areas, obviously, is to address chronic absenteeism now that we're coming off the pandemic. We had set the goal. We think it's attainable, but we certainly wanted a challenge. So we didn't want to, make it too easy for ourselves, but we certainly want to return to a percentage of students that is below 10% chronic, who are students who are chronically absent from school. Over to the right are the strategies that we, for this particular goal, have implemented. We believe it's really, really important to let our parents know of the importance to make sure that our students are in attendance. So we communicate about that and the importance of having our students at school. We also, our teachers are involved, at the ground level with helping us communicate with families when they're noticing that students are absent to make sure that our families know that their students are missed at school. And we also communicate with our families, obviously more formally, through attendance letters and telephone calls and that sort of thing as well. Weekly, we have what is called STAR, which is our student at risk team. And we meet weekly. We review students that are not just at risk due to attendance, but for any particular reason. That team is made up of our counselors. It is made up of our SRO. One of our school nurses participates in that team. We have a member of our team from Access, which is an excellent partnership that through the pandemic we've been able to foster with the county, as the other districts have in the district, or other buildings have in the district. And they are able to do that work for us sometimes outside of school that we can't get to, which are the home visits and that more one-on-one contact in person with our families. So that person is a member of our student at-risk team, along with our Liberty Resources counselors. We currently have one full-time and a half-time at Gillette.
I have some data to share with you as well. Up on the screen, you'll see our tier transition reports for our ELA benchmark that was given in the fall to all 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students. You can see here sort of where we're starting. This is our baseline where we really looked at how students were performing so that we could set our targets for the year. Most of our students are performing at the tier 1 level, but there is definitely some room for growth. On this slide is our data for the fall benchmark at each of the 3 grade levels for the math. And this really leads us to our goal. So our goal is around reading proficiency, which ties directly to the district's goal that all students will be proficient readers. We have set the target at Gillette that our students in the green will increase by 8% or more at each grade level, and our students in the red will decrease by 2% or more. Our goal is directly tied to our reading data, but we know that reading really does support students' performance in math as well. So we expect that the efforts that we're putting into reading will also benefit students in math because they need to be able to read in order to solve problems. We have a number of strategies that we've put into place. Similarly to Roxborough, we have increased the contact time for AIS teachers with their students, so they are now receiving a daily intervention model. We have pilots occurring in our building at the tier 1, 2, and 3 levels. So our ELA teachers are piloting 2 tier 1 curriculum programs, and our AIS teachers are also piloting new intervention programs to meet students' needs who need targeted intervention. We're using our data to have conversations with teachers about which students need supports and looking at if the supports are effective or not. We've focused on some fluid grouping for AIS, which is sort of a new concept at the middle school level where people are really locked into a schedule. So we did start AIS services right on the first day of school, which was new this year, but then we regrouped students after the fall benchmark, which took a lot of creativity and flexibility from our teachers, but it was really important to get the right kids into the interventions and to exit students who had made growth since spring. We are also looking as a building and as a BPT at some options for our building-wide schedule for next year, and that would include more time for collaborative teaming, so that teachers could meet students' needs in the Tier 1 setting, as well as providing some opportunities for WIN or some Tier 2 intervention from classroom teachers. WIN is an acronym, which stands for What I Need Now. So that would be a time that teachers could regroup students in order to deliver interventions to the students that need them.
Another focus of that we're looking at this year is the focus on social emotional learning. And we're going with our third BPT goal is just along with the district goal to support this. And one area we're looking at this year is to reduce the instances of harassment and bullying in the school from the previous year by 10%. And some of the ways that we're doing it, the strategies we're using at the Tier 1 level, we're looking at our school model this year is be safe, be respectable, and be responsible. We have posters all over the building with it that goes along with our P2 and just bringing it all together, trying to get the students to be really safe and responsible while in the building. We have early parent contacts, like Mr. Cordone said, especially when it comes to attendance. We're reaching out earlier than we have. I think we've already sent out a couple letters to those students, so we're building on that, trying to get the students and the parents all involved. Using restorative practices this year, this is kind of our first start. We did a little bit last year, but we're jumping more into it this year. And using that more as a basis of having that conversation with a student before we go to any discipline or any reactions like that, trying to talk to them about what they did wrong, why they did it, how we can change their feelings on the situation as well as the feelings of the people that they may have affected. Peer mediations, trying to get the students together and talk things out is one of the big things this year to put an end to it. We also have a school-wide focus that we're working on with CASTLE for the core competencies, self-awareness and social awareness, trying to bring that into the building, getting off of social media, kind of talking things out. And then with our P2 programs, we've started Friday Spirit Days, where all students, teachers, staff, all faculty are to wear, if they want to, wear blue or green Gillette Road apparel or just blue and green apparel for the Friday to just kind of celebrate the school. We've changed our student of the month up a little bit. We're actually going now to every 5 weeks, and we're doing it off of the P2 traits. So every 5 weeks we pick 4 or 5 P2 traits. We have the students can nominate their fellow students by putting a nomination in, writing a short paragraph on why they think that student should be nominated for a trait. Like this 5 weeks, it's bravery, integrity, teamwork, creativity, and curiosity. So the students get to nominate students, and then we have teachers who can nominate as well. And then that'll come back to our SEL committee, and we'll read through and we'll kind of make a selection of the students that will get those awards for. It's kind of every 5 weeks is what we're doing with the progress reports and then the marking periods. And one other thing that's not on here that we just started looking into for P2 is one of the art teachers came to us and wanted to do what she's calling Paint the Mile. So she started a club where over the next 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to design different things through the P2 project, social emotional stuff, and they're going to design a painting that they could paint on our track out back. That's all with the P2 stuff and self-awareness and SEL stuff for all the students and staff.
And certainly bringing this all together, we as teachers and staff are looking to our professional learning communities to do the work. Our focus again is that we're going to be actively working to be a PLC, as a professional learning community. This is based on Richard DeVore's work to try to get teachers to talk about their profession, their craft, and get together to do that, to have a better focus on it. So one of the things we did a few years ago is we got one of these books, and this is the Taking Action book that we've looked at, kind of the Bible, if you will, for the PLC work. It gives us a chance to figure out how we're going to collaborate together as a team, how we're going to set goals, how we're going to best support our students. We developed an agenda and a minutes that's universal that all the teams use. We meet on a bi-weekly basis. We get a chance to do that, and it works out to basically there's four questions and three big ideas. So we've broken it up, first looking at the first two questions, what do students need to know and be able to do? So as teachers, we discuss that, look at some information that we have around that as their progress. And then we focus also on how we know that they've learned it. We're also working with a professional consultant from Solution Tree, Barb Phillips. She's met with us already, and we're doing that through our guiding coalition with it. So our next steps will be, we'll continue to do this for 5th and 6th grade, building those collaborative teams. Unfortunately, right now, we have to meet before school at 7:40 to about 8:15, 8:20, but we're hoping to revamp the schedule so we're able to do that during the day. And that'll move us on to our third and fourth questions that are part of this process. How will we respond when students do not learn, and how can extend the learning for those students who already are proficient to move them on? And we just have a quick look. Instead of you heard, now we can see what it looks like. And we're just trying to keep the focus, again, always on the students. That's why I came up with the term of spotlight on students. Our BPT members have continued to work very hard, and we're looking forward to the future work that they have with you. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, we'll take those now.
Thank you. Question?
I got a question. Going back to your goal number 3, how do you collect the data for harassment and bullying, and like where do you pull that data from?
That is pulled from school tools. When a student gets a referral, the data, there's a drop downs on what that student is getting in trouble for. So it could be harassment, could be bullying, could be go to a DASA. So we're pulling it from that. So we're going to compare that from last year to this year as we go through.
Okay. Yeah, I was just asking because there's always that that unknown, because it has to get reported or has to be seen. So I just worry about those students who are sitting there in the dark without reporting that.
We do encourage students, obviously, to report, and our ADAPEP counselors, it's a good question. So we try to get to those students who might be reluctant, to reassure them that there are a variety of ways that they can go about doing that. They're made to be aware of the website and where they can report there, and they can certainly do that with a parent if they need that support at home. We also have the 404 tip line and other options that we give a variety of strategies for our students, but that's an excellent question because we don't want to underreport. We certainly want to make sure that we're able to attend to everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple comments. First of all, let's see, my kids went through there probably 15 to 18 years ago. It was one of my favorite schools. You were still there. I recognized you. You were vice principal at the time. And one question is kind of a silly question. Do you still play the music in the morning, the teachers, their first day of school?
The first day, I don't think we did. This year we changed up, as Mr. Ackley mentioned. We kind of set the tone right from the start with our character ed building and the positivity project, and we really showed them the matrix of support in terms of tiered instruction, what we needed for them in every part. So we were really we discussed as a staff at the end of last year that we we wanted to start in a positive way, framing what behavior needed to look like and what we needed students to do for themselves and for each other. And so we began our first day of school with an assembly. So I don't think music was a part of that, but we definitely tried to set a very positive tone. And from the staff and their perspective, they felt that we met that, we hit the mark on that. So that was a good decision to make.
Nice. I'm sure things like everything's changed since COVID. That's just one of the fond memories I have of bringing both my kids there. That the teachers were all out with their instruments as the kids came in. It was just such a
They do at that-
unexpected and
yeah.
neat way to start, and it just always stood in my mind.
I can't remember if they did that this year, but they definitely do it at the end of the year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And I love seeing the sign of the Positivity Project there. That's an excellent program. And it seems like it's still the same good things going on there when my kids went there. I had positive experiences going through that school. It was one of my favorites of my kids.
Thank you.
I should say something. Equal time, right? So, I feel bad. I haven't been to Gillette this year, and I need to come up and visit the school. I wanted to say about Eileen Gleason and her student council. That has been around for a long time. Very great organization. They give scholarships. Give one scholarship to a former student that went through your school, and Eileen's just been very supportive. And I believe in student government, and it's great. I need to tell you, your former science teacher, Shannon, is doing fine. She's principal of STARS, and I see her quite often, so I'll tell her that you did a presentation.
And tell her we said hello.
I will. But for both of the middle schools, both of you have a different quality of student that goes to your school, and each of you do a marvelous job with those students. One thing I've noticed this year, and I don't know if both middle schools have noticed it, right from day one when I was at Lakeshore, the teachers are kind of pushed COVID to the back now. And I feel that their social emotional being is much better this year. Our teachers, our administrators, our whole staff have been through, and even our administration at this table have been through some difficult years. But I've seen the happiness. It's great to see. So for your staff, the other thing about your staff and also Roxborough, I don't know if the board realizes this is all volunteer work. These people on the back, they come to school early in the morning or they stay after school to work with the administration team to do it. And tomorrow's the big day, staff development day, and you'll do a lot of it. But thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. And before we leave, I just wanted to also echo what Heather Pellegrino said from Roxborough. We tremendously appreciate the addition of the associate principal. It has helped us an awful lot to dig in deeper, to be more proactive than reactive. And I think we were going along not realizing how much we were doing that. So thank you so much for giving us Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at the comments from the audience portion. We do not have anybody signed up today, but I'll remind anybody here or listening that we do welcome comments from the public. We do a lot of time in every board meeting for that. If you have any, please call our district clerk, or as always, submit something in writing to the district clerk if you need to communicate with the board. Thank you. Board of Education Committee reports. I will go down to Mr. Thorne. How are we on policy? Or we have a meeting coming up?
Our next policy committee meeting will be on November 15th.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Crabtree.
I'll do both reports. for
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President. The Legislative Committee met last week, November 2nd, via Zoom. Personally, it lasted more than an hour. I don't like going over an hour, but I thought our program was really well with the speakers. First of all, I thought Matt Irwin, kudos to him, came in and talked about safety, where we were 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and now where we're at. I was a really great presentation, and Matt did a super job. And then both Don and Matt went through the capital project. I wish I had said something because there's going to be changes at Gillette inside the school and outside the school. We went through that, and we know that the voting's December 6th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and we hope everybody comes out to vote. We had Jeremy Belfield, superintendent of Lafayette Central School District. I had met with him this summer, go through the issues that superintendents feel need to be looked at by our legislators. He did a super job, and Mr. Bowles has promised me that he does a report every month for the superintendents at BOCES, that he'll give me that information. So we're kind of working with NYSET. We're working with now superintendents and our committee. I think it's great that we're all working for the best for our kids. And that's it. And we're meeting the day after the referendum on December 7th. A report was sent to you by Jill for BOCES, and I really don't have anything else to say other than what the report said, though I was able to go to all of the open houses. Of course, we have fewer schools in both Cortland and in Onondaga County. And as I said tonight, the attendance was almost double at our schools, and I'm sure it was here in North Syracuse for the open houses. And I think that's a tribute to our teachers and our parents and our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent comments, Mr. Bolt.
Okay, a lot of wonderful things happening, and I'm going to start off by our marching band. Not only at the Dome last week took first, but this past week they were third in the nation amongst large schools. They have been doing a phenomenal job, and it's just a credit to the overall program. So I wanted to start off by giving them some acknowledgement. Section champs, field hockey went on to play Green in the regionals and beat them, and is now playing in the state Final Four down on Long Island this coming week. Boys soccer, who won sectionals, went on to play Shaker in Albany this past weekend and beat them, and now is going on to play in Middletown. Unfortunately, our boys volleyball took a hard-fought loss in the section finals to FM in Liverpool this past weekend. Football team did win against Beeville and will be playing CBA in the section finals at the Dome this coming weekend. Again, many students in the state qualifiers did well in swimming. So there's many things going on for our students in extracurricular here in the North Central School District. Sorry about that. I almost made a major faux pas. So more to come. Our students are not only doing well in the classroom, but doing well in all of their activities. And I do want to let the board know, we do have students here that are helping out on the sound and lighting again later in the evening, and that's also a credit to the extracurricular that we offer here in the district. And I will also, there was one student that Mr. Crabtree and I had the privilege, and it was Mr. John Lisi, during the football game. We were doing kind of a play-by-play announcement. Mr. Crabtree was there during the second quarter. I was there during the third quarter. And again, they're doing a marvelous job providing that service for the community, and it's possibly a career choice for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Board of Education comments. Oh, I have just a few. I just wanted to let the board know I went to the New York State School Boards Association Conference, which was right here in Syracuse last weekend. I was able to get through all 3 days, but the first day it was after the Biden event. Well, I missed a lot of it. It was a little, the logistics moving around the on-center wasn't what I expected. It was tough to get into some of the sessions I wanted to see. I did see a nice one on community schools, and wanted to point out that I think everybody here should receive the onboard newspaper in the mail. So it came today, and if you go in there, that'll be my report. You can get a nice little read-up on all the sessions, but there's a featured article with Lisa Goldberg in there. Because she did do a panel discussion there on social emotional learning. So something to check out. And that's my only comments. Other board comments? I hear none, so I'm going to move on to routine action items. If I could get a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of October 17th, 2022. Motion from Ms. Segru, second from Mr. Thorne. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And bear with me, this is tough to do this when we're all linear here. Motion, please. I'd like to consider B, C, and D together. Motion from Mr. Xavier Muzi-Wudick and second from Ms. Segru. Okay, we have B, C, and D before us, so the consideration of classification of disabled students in school, preschool, and homeschool by the various committees. That is before us. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much. Motion to place discussion action item A before us. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Dr. Kramer. Okay, that is before us. It's a request for approval of the GSA Club at Gillette Road Middle School. And if you opened up the information on that, that was a request of a student last year to form that club, and we have that at the high school as well as the junior high, and I believe one was referenced at Roxborough Middle in the presentation we just saw. Any discussion on that? It's before us. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Item B, please, to award contract to John W. Danforth Company. Motion from Mr. Crabtree, second from Ms. Segru. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And item C, please, a motion to place that before us. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Muzi-Wudick. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. In declaration of marketable and non-marketable surplus, a motion, please. Motion from Mr. Herman, second from Mr. Thorne. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, that is carried. I have a retirement to acknowledge, and that is Karen Bickham, Karen Bickham, school bus driver with 32.5 years of service. That's a lot of service for a school bus driver. Thank you very much. Wish her a great retirement, long and healthy, please. Motion, please, for instructional personnel report A. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Muzi-Wudick. A is before us. Any discussion? Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Support staff personnel B, please. Motion to place that before us. Motion from Ms. Segru, second from Dr. Kramer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And we have administrative personnel report C. Motion, please, to place that before us. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Dr. Kramer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. I would like to make a motion. I would ask for a second when I'm done. The motion is to move into executive session for the purpose of reviewing one legal matter with no action to follow, and the employment record of two individuals with no action to follow, and two personnel matters with no action to follow. Second, please. Second from Dr. Kramer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And a motion to adjourn, please. Motion from Ms. Segru, second from Mr. Herman. Any discussion? Of course not. All in favor? Opposed, that is carried. We're adjourned at 7:10. Thank you. think